Joining me now from Washington to discuss politics, once again, Time Magazine reporter Zeke Miller. Okay, Zeke, let's start with the new national poll out. Does the Trump campaign and the Republican Party have reason to worry, given this downward trajectory that we've been seeing over the past couple of weeks?
Absolutely. We're seeing a little bit of a freak out moment within the Republican Party. The last 3.5 weeks since the end of the Republican National Convention have been nothing short of disastrous for the Trump campaign. They haven't been able to find their footing. They haven't found a coherent message for voters. And sort of a series of verbal gaffes and missteps and offensive comments by their candidate have prevented them from getting any momentum. They've had momentum just in the wrong direction. That 9-point poll, that 9-point gap today tracks with a whole number of surveys we've seen over the last few weeks. They're running out of time to turn this ship around. Early voting starts in a lot of places 45 days before Election Day. That's mid-September. That's basically a month from now. And that's not giving Donald Trump a lot of time to sort of close the gap. And the debates will be that opportunity. But a lot of people have voted before those first debates, even.
I was surprised by this poll out in Virginia today. It actually has Clinton leading by 14 points. That's just the latest swing state that she's leading by double digits. What does the Trump campaign need to do in these basic battleground states if he really wants to turn the tide?
You know, states like Virginia, Colorado seem like they are moving off the map for Donald Trump. The Clinton campaign and her super PAC are even pulling down some of their ads in those states, not permanently, but at least temporarily, thinking that they're expressing some confidence. Obviously, Tim Kaine, Hillary Clinton's running mates from Virginia, so that's helping her out just a little bit. You know, for Donald Trump, he's looking at Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Those are absolute must-wins. If he loses one of those three, it's pretty much all over. And he still needs to win beyond that as well. And so that's why that's a good explanation for where we should be seeing him over the next few weeks. Why he was in Ohio yesterday for his foreign policy address. But from talking to a lot of Republicans over the last few weeks, the most important thing is sort of the national Trump message is that there really hasn't been one, and that really starts with the candidate himself. That requires a bit of messaging discipline, something where there is a focus on for a given day or a given series of days that actually tries to communicate something to voters. Trump really hasn't done that in weeks, and that's the more fundamental problem than what we're seeing on the ground in a state-by-state basis.
And we know in the wake of these polls, the New York Times now reporting that Fox News former chairman Roger Ailes, he was ousted last month over charges of sexual harassment. But now he's going to advise Trump ahead of the first presidential debate. That's on September 26th. That rollout, it could extend beyond the first debate if he stays on. But Trump's press secretary has actually denied the report. So what's going on here, Zeke?
Donald Trump and Roger Ailes have a very long friendship. So I think that there could be an element of semantics here. Is he on board officially on the campaign team? That would be a very large political vulnerability given how Roger Ailes was ousted from Fox News under those sexual harassment allegations. But certainly he's been in contact with Donald Trump throughout this entire campaign, and there's no reason to think that is going to stop anytime soon. Trump really does need to take these debate preps seriously. Roger Ailes would be one of the most willing people on the Republican side to do that for him. Mitt Romney and John McCain both used Ohio Senator Rob Portman as their who played Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012. He's obviously out of the cards, both because he's not really supporting Donald Trump, but also is in the fight of his own political life back in Ohio. So Trump needs all the help he can get for these debates, and if he can get that from Roger Ailes, in Trump's calculus, that's better than nothing.
Well, we don't know if this is coming from Roger Ailes or Trump himself, but yesterday we heard him say that Clinton lacks the, quote, physical and mental stamina to take on ISIS. It's an argument that he could use at the debates, possibly. What's his strategy? He's not doing well with women. So why attack her and say, well, you're pretty much just a girl and you can't hack it?
That's a lot of that gets to how Donald Trump carries himself and the way he thinks about himself and his whole strategy through this entire campaign, which is an element of trying to get under the opponent's skin. He thinks he's poking and prodding around for Hillary Clinton's vulnerabilities. And one of the things that was a core argument of hers when she was Secretary of State, and since then has been how tireless she is on the campaign trail, traveling the world, all the countries she visited as Secretary of State. He's trying to undermine that a little bit by making a few spurious arguments about how she took a weekend off the campaign trail to take a vacation, or seemed to be tired at a campaign rally. That's sort of the standard, almost bullying tactics that Donald Trump has adopted that he will almost certainly deploy on the debate stage. And that's why this is so difficult for Hillary Clinton. How do you prepare to take on the most unconventional candidate in one of these head-to-head debates? We haven't seen Donald Trump in this format. It's a real risk for him. But for Hillary Clinton, you're basically trying to plan for the most mercurial candidate. You don't know which Donald Trump will show up at Hofstra on September 26th.
That's what makes it so interesting, Zeke. We never know who's going to show up. But Clinton released her White House transition team this morning. It's sort of laying the groundwork for if she were elected president. These are the people who would help with the transition. We know part of that transition will be Secretary of Interior and Colorado Senator Ken Salazar. He's going to serve as chair. What do we take away from the people and their backgrounds that she has chosen on this team?
I mean, the big thing here is, this is reinforcing the Clintons' campaign message of experience. Picking somebody like Ken Salazar in the Senate, in the cabinet, that's, a lot of, those are sort of the credentials that you would like to see for somebody who's going to advise a incoming president, try to structure what that government would look like. Neera Tanden has been involved in crafting Democratic policy, since the Clinton White House, is very well respected. And has been very involved in coordination with the Clinton campaign's policy team through the Center for American Progress. You look across the aisle, you have Donald Trump's team, which is largely based off Chris Christie's political operation, and in bizarre ways, kind of the what if, the alter ego, what if Chris Christie had won the Republican nomination? This is who he'd have advising him on the campaign. The executive director of that effort is Chris Christie's first chief of staff. Its general counsel is Chris Christie's chief political advisor. It's less about experience on that side than more about trust. With Hillary Clinton, it's more about communicating to voters that she has the experienced team to govern.
Okay, Zeke Miller in Washington. Zeke, thank you.
Thank you.